All right, Governor Similaye Fubara of Rivers State has alleged that the failed attempt to detonate an explosive device at the Hotel Presidential in Port Harcourt was a deliberate ploy to strengthen the call for a state of emergency by his opponents who want to undermine the state. He clarified that he was not fighting anybody but rather defending the state against predators and protecting Rivers State against those who feel that they own the lives of others. But a group of Rivers leaders known as the Rivers Leaders Forum, led by former Senator Laka Nwogu, has described as false alarm the comments by Governor Fubara over the alleged explosion around the presidential hotel. The forum, made up of former National Assembly and State House of Assembly members, said during the protest there were no issues of explosion, noting that the protest started at Rumume Civic Center on Ikwere Road and terminated at People's Club on Rumola, stating that the move did not get to Hotel Presidential, saying that the statement was a deliberate attempt to undermine the state's peace and security. The issue has further polarized the political crisis in the state, with the police cautioning all parties against incendiary comments as it works to investigate the allegations.
Where on earth can tenure of a local government chairman be elongated? You were a former governor. Was it tried in your time? Even those of you that are senators here, even in your own state, is it that the constitution that governs Nigeria is different from the one that operates in Rivers State? In fact, there was a plan to dynamite the presidential hotel because you people were there. But this God that we serve, it happened that the man who was trying to do it, it happened just a few seconds as blowed his hand off. It happened in front of. The idea was when you are hearing state of emergency, is so that by the time they finish, but when people are sitting tomorrow, they will say somebody from this state who called you people to tell you not to come will now raise issue of state of emergency.
All right, sir. That's Governor Similaye Fubara of Rivers State there, reacting to what happened during the state. Well, to help us make sense of this, we have joining us a legal practitioner and public policy analyst, Achi William Wobodo. Who will be joined later by Honorable Cletus Obun, who's a former lawmaker in Cross River State and also an academic. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So it's been a week of allegations here and there. Now former lawmakers in River State, both former National Assembly and State Assembly lawmakers, are disputing what the governor is saying. Could Governor Fubara have been taking an advantage of that explosion to make it a political situation?
Well, first and foremost, if there was any explosion, I would say it's rather unfortunate. But I think that issue of whether there was explosion or not should not come from the governor. It should be coming from the law enforcement agencies to say there was explosion, and then to the extent that the explosion occurred. It's rather too spontaneous, if you ask me, for the governor to make such allegation without any background history from the police or the other law enforcement agencies. That will mean some disposition to accessory after fact, before fact, indicating that maybe the governor would have been predisposed to such thing happening in the state. As I speak to you up to now, I've not heard any formal complaint or any formal report by the agencies to say that there was an explosion. But if it did happen, then it's unfortunate.
Well, he says it happened, and he's actually saying that he thanked God actually for the explosion not coming out the way, according to him, those who planted that had expected, because it may have led to a state of emergency. But well, I'm actually bringing you here to talk to us about one critical issue he raised when you listened to him. He said, can the tenure of local government chairman be extended at all? He was asking former Governor Oji Uzokal, who is a senator, asking him that can the tenure of local government just be increased indiscriminately? And as a lawyer, I would want you to speak to that.
First and foremost, I like to correct the impression that what's happening in Rivers State is in any guise an extension of the tenure of local government. It's not correct. what is happening in Rivers State is that the Rivers State House of Assembly is trying to bridge a gap that exists in law that governs the conduct of local government election in Rivers State. And it is not inconsistent with the provisions of the Constitution. Now, if you look at Section 7, subsection 1 of the Constitution, it provides a background. It said the system for the governance of local government shall be by democratically elected council, and that is guaranteed. So the Constitution does not envisage a situation where there will be an interregnum, where there is a gap in an election, you know. So that is what the local government sought to do. Now, in the first, what you call the principal law, the law is that local government tenure shall terminate at the expiration of 3 years. The new amendment did not add 1 second to that.
Yeah, but there was an extension of,
no, there's no extension. What happens is that the implication of what they have amended may give room for what looks like an extension. And I give you an example. It is not only in Rivers State, it is also contemplated by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Section 64, Section 105, sub 2, Section 135.3, Section 183, all makes provision in the event that election is not able to be conducted, in the event that there is war, for instance. So the Constitution empowers the National Assembly to extend the tenure of the president up to the members of the local government, up to the members of the House of Assembly in the event of war.
Where elections cannot be conducted.
Where elections cannot be conducted. Now it comes to Rivers State. The Rivers State, the power to make laws to govern election in Rivers State is also donated to the Rivers State House of Assembly. Now, Rivers State House of Assembly has passed a law without contemplating, as at the time when they passed the law, that there could be circumstances under which election may not hold. Now, having realized that such a circumstance could arise, they made a law. They amended the law within their powers under Section 100. They amended the law to say that in the event that there is war in the physical presence of Rivers State, or if for any reason the Rivers State Electoral Commission is unable to conduct election, then by resolution, the tenure of the local government chairman will be extended by 6 months per piece. That provision is consistent with the provisions of the Constitution. It's in alignment with the provisions of the Constitution.
All right, but that's for a legitimate State House of Assembly. So the governor is saying that this State House of Assembly that you are quoting is illegitimate.
Well, you see, that's the
that
point.
Everything that they've done to him is unacceptable because they had defected from their governing party and there was no crisis in their governing party in the state. And as such, whatever they've been doing is an act of illegality.
Now, you see, the point is that a lot of assumptions happen, in politics, beyond the contemplation of the Constitution. Now, when a person defects from a political party to another political party, the Constitution says that he has vacated his seat. But the Constitution makes a proviso and says, provided that is leaving that position is not as a result of fashion or merger in the party. Now, what that proviso does is that it enables the member to plead a defense. Even if the member says, for the purposes of this argument, even if the member says, my ward chairman and my ward secretary are disputing, and so there's a fashion in our party at that level, and he pleads it, the Constitution contemplates that there is a dispute because you say he should vacate office. He said, I cannot vacate because there's my ward chairman. I'm using as trivial as ward chairman. Now, it is for a court to make a determination that the ward chairman does not qualify within the definition of the circumstance provided in the proviso. It is not for you and me to do. And by virtue of the provisions of Section 6, subsection 6 of the Constitution and Section 2723 of the Constitution, the person or authority that has the power to make that determination is the Federal High Court. And the Federal High Court has not made that determination. So it is not for the governor or for myself to say they have ceased to be members of. It is a court of law that will make that determination, and that determination has not been made.
Now, the cases are still in court, but the governor, while reacting to that alleged explosion that happened, said that the intent was to create a state of emergency in Rivers State. In the eyes of the law, and having seen what happened from Obasanjo's time and how the National Assembly corrected some of the legislation, even if there were a state of emergency declared by the president in Rivers State, could that affect the seat of the governor? Well, which could have made him to be anxious about
that? Understandably, some persons have said, oh, what is happening in Rivers State has reached a crescendo, and so therefore state of emergency should be called. But I think that the Constitution also makes provision for what should happen in the event that state of emergency is declared. Those circumstances have not arisen. And the president has not shown any disposition that he's going to breach the law in terms of managing or resolving the dispute in Rivers State to give such level of anxiety, you know, to the...
Well, the governor is afraid for his seat, actually.
Yeah, he is afraid for his seat, yes, but to show such level of anxiety publicly, I think he should, simmer down a bit.
Yeah, but does the law protect the governor? Because he has immunity. And then in this instance, he has a guaranteed tenure, 4 years. And previously, the National Assembly had said that if there is a situation like this and there's a declaration of a state of emergency, peradventure there is one, the political authority will only be working alongside whatever the president is doing. So it's not as if the governor will be removed and all of that. What exactly is the state of the law
that is the contemplation of the law. The Constitution contemplates a situation where a person who is the governor of a state is someone who is adjudged to have been democratically elected. So if there's a state of emergency, that the security situation is such that the governor can, as the chief security officer of the state, can no longer manage, then, and the president makes a pronouncement, whoever is coming is to arrest the security challenges, and then the governor may, continue after that is done. But the point we're saying is that that scenario has not even arisen. So people should not generate it in anticipation that they want to use it to, blackmail the other side and all that.
All right. I will just ask you, Archie, to just hold on while we go on break, and when we come back, we will be joined by Cletus Obun, who's a politician, to answer the political question, because I've seen that you're trying to be a bit careful about getting to the political terrain. So stay with us as we go on this short break. On the break, you're still watching This Week, and I'm Samna Sambo, and of course we're still reviewing the political crisis in Rivers State, and of course allegations of call for a state of emergency amid an alleged bombing that happened in that part of the state, Port Harcourt, the state capital, to be precise. Now we still have with us legal practitioner and public policy analyst Archie William Wobodo. Thank you so much for still being with us. And Honorable Cletus Obun, former lawmaker in Cross River State, who is also an academic, joins us now. Thank you so much. So let's start from you, Cletus. Let's talk about the politics of that alleged bombing of plans to bomb Hotel Presidential in River State. We had seen a similar explosion happening at the State House of Assembly, which led to the eventual wreckage of that building and then collapse of it under the same governor. And now we are hearing of this alleged plan to bomb such a very huge hotel. People are saying that it looks like there were plans to make political capital out of this situation. What do you make of it?
Clearly, we are not dealing with we are not in a chemistry lab. So explosions coming from streets and near hotels are simply, especially given the kind of tension that was politically being generated around that area, especially given that they were also here, there were meetings going on there. Political coloration is bound to be read into and meaning into that situation. But you can't also take it away from the fact that the snowballing of the crisis in Rivers State with the intention of creating political benefits for certain political actors in that area are dangerous, becoming more and more dangerous on a daily basis. And I see that degenerating. So when I hear calls for premature calls for state of emergency, we have situations that I don't know why the relevant sections of the Constitution have not been triggered into action or activated. Section 11 sub 4 is clear. What is happening in Rivers State would have, by now, I expect the National Assembly to have taken over the House of Assembly in Rivers State. Three cannot preside
that's
over
what people
27.
are saying, actually. What
There
exactly
is no way, because first of all, the 27 people who came and made proclamations on television and international conferences saying that, press conferences saying that they are members of APC. I'm a member, a foundation member of APC. The joining of APC cannot even be declared by a court. No court of law in Nigeria can make you a member of a political party, especially APC that I know the Constitution well. For you to be a member, your name must be on the ward register, not by a press conference or swearing an affidavit in court can make you a member of APC. There are procedures. The Constitution of APC itself is a subsidiary legislation from the Constitution. The Constitution empowers parties to make their constitutions. And as long as they don't conflict with the Constitution, freedom of association means that you will be accepted by association. You don't go to a press conference and say, I'm a member of the Catholic Church. It is by your religion and by the activities you participate in, not by mere proclamation of faith. And you're doing something else. So the mere fact that they made those pronouncements ought to be, there are consequences for that. You are going to your ward, and then the second is the e-registration, which will be endorsed by the National Working Committee of the party. Having not done that, the issue of them declaring and saying we have videotapes of them and footage is not by proclamation. So otherwise, somebody can just walk up. So what happened in that as presidential and the issue of the bombing and the call for declaration of a state of emergency? Yeah. There are constitutional provisions that trigger off what you call a state of emergency by a president. And like I heard him say before I came into it, there have been no such thing that would degenerate to that. But this governor must know that as chief presiding officer and security officer of that state, 2 bombings in a space of 12 months is simply one too many, by whatever way and by whatever means. It is not healthy, it is not good, and Rivers State is the umbilical cord that fits Nigeria. So Rivers State is very important to us, and the president must not allow for another operation waiting. We should not allow this to degenerate to that point, because what is happening there is not clearly good signal for Nigeria.
All right, Archie. So let's talk about why Governor Fubara himself did not plan for an election to take place. We all knew that this local government chairman are meant to enjoy a particular number of years, 3 years, and if their tenure expires before then, I think a year before, there are supposed to have been guidelines that will be rolled out and all of that. Well, he came into power. It's over a year now. Why didn't that happen? And why does it look like maybe he's beclouded by the challenges he's having with former Governor Nyesom Wike? And maybe that could have also prevented him from saying that he needed to organize an election for these people.
Okay, so I'm not going to speculate why, the reason that he has in mind why he did not prepare for election. But if you allow me to take it from analysis of things that we know, within the system, it just points down to one simple thing. The governor was not, before now, was not duly active in politics. So it was the minister for, yes, the minister for FCT, who midwifed his nomination and also ensured that he became the governor of Rivers State. So actually, he does not really have what most people will refer to as the structure, to run a viable and competitive election.
Yeah, but he has an attorney general. I mean, the attorney general could have advised him, look, the tenure of this local government chairman will be coming to an end. There's a need for the needful to be done. And INEC too, because people are beginning to question INEC and then the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission. What exactly do these institutions have a role? What role do they have to play in this?
Now, you must situate the situation properly. There is the legal aspect of it, and then there is the political aspect of it. So the Attorney General may well advise that, look, there's need for you to run an election. But you run an election ultimately to win. If you do the political analysis and know that that's what I feel, and realize that if you go to the local government, you might not be able to win, then you begin to look for easy way out to run out of this situation. For INEC, now, I don't think INEC has any major blame or role to play in this, because the conduct of election within Rivers State is vested solely on the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission. Yeah. Now, we didn't see before now any evidence that body wanted to conduct election. We didn't hear of the governor trying to meet them.
Well, that of INEC actually comes in terms of the State Assembly members. People actually were accusing them that they are part of the trouble. Apart from the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission for the local government, that INEC would have also gone ahead for that of those who were declared.
INEC can't do that so, because the matter is so
a huge challenge
until the court makes a determination. I have told you that the court that has the power to make that determination is the Federal High Court. They have run to the Federal High Court based on the proviso of the Constitution to say, no, we cannot lose our seat. So INEC cannot jump into the fray of political battle. INEC has to wait until there's a determination by the court. The court has not given that determination.
All right, and I bring you in because the governor has gone ahead to actually appoint caretaker committees, and although they are unable to access the local government headquarters, but nonetheless they are operating from different parts.
It is, first of all, it shows what the president is up to, the point of making our democracy work, in which the three arms of government, as enshrined in our Constitution and envisaged by the Constitution, are functional, which is why he went to the Supreme Court for interpretation about the functionality, and which Section 7 is clear about. A system of democratically elected government system is hereby established. That is the first sentence in Section 7. A system of democratically elected local government system is hereby established. What that means, it doesn't contemplate at any time that by whatever name or by whatever means there should be anything outside of an elected local government system.
But there are several caretaker committees, including in APC-led states in the country.
Not just APC. From the beginning, in fact, from 2003, that was what happened. From 2003, it had been orchestrated by governors. And when I say that they are becoming pocket tyrants, people don't seem to understand. Because this is an aberration, it is an affront on the Constitution, it is undemocratic, it is anti-democratic. As a matter of fact, it's a direct confrontation of our rule of law. Because if we're operating by laws, these 27 members made a law. The court purports to have reversed that law, which is the only way to do it, because by our Constitution, the process of lawmaking cannot be challenged by any court in Nigeria, Now, having established that fact, the 27 people have already won, and they are now, the process is on. It must end in the Supreme Court. That's what they find. So, under the circumstance in which you are going to create a vacuum, an appeal may, in this circumstance, serve as a stay of execution. The lawyers may correct me on this. Because if you don't, the danger of violating the Constitution will arise, in which you create a vacuum or appoint people into a position that ought to be occupied by an elected system. Now, having established that, we come to the point that if you say you don't agree with them, it triggers off the fact that those three members cannot even sit. It means there's no assembly in Rivers State. So what we should be having now, two things will happen. If you say the 27 members have lost their seat, it means you don't have an assembly, because 1/3 of that ought to constitute a quorum for the sitting of that house. 30 members should have about 19. So 3 cannot even make 0.0001.
Well, they are saying that it's the 3 legitimate ones. And when you have 3, as long as they are legitimate, you can now have a quorum of the 3. That's what they are claiming.
You cannot read the Constitution exclusive. They are inclusively and mutually inclusive. That is to say, the relevant sections of the Constitution, first of all, do not just say they are relevant. They are legitimate. Legitimacy is also has to go along with the fact of the quorum, of what constitutes a quorum by the Constitution. The Constitution says a House of Assembly shall be made up of this number. The number that is there, 1/3 of it at all times can sit and take decisions. But the other decision, like the impeachment of the president, in which all must be sitting and voting for you to remove a governor. But when you are passing an act, a bill, into an act, you must have 1/3. So in all this, they have met, if you must trigger the clause or the constitution, that the constitutional section that removes them for changing party, you must also trigger the fact of the constitution that 3 members cannot constitute a House of Assembly of 30. So when you put this together, House of Assembly in Rivers State legitimately by our constitution does not exist in the eye of the law.
All right, so why hasn't the National Assembly taken over the functions of the Rivers State House of Assembly? Because it's clear that there's a problem.
We run an adversary legal system. Our jurisprudence is adversary. Somebody must take a step to ensure that. Somebody must come out to court to say, Assembly, what do people call it? Invoking the fact that they must do their duty, compelling them to perform their duty. Someone must go to court to insist that has National Assembly perform your duty. It happened in Edo State. In Edo State, we had a similar
in Rivers State.
In Rivers State.
Oh,
so
right.
we need to have that happening now. So where we are now in Rivers State, I want to sound a note of warning. The governor should concentrate, because you are focused on achieving. You cannot come after 4 years and tell us that we are being disturbed by the Minister of FCT.
Yeah, but Wike is a very big elephant in the room. I mean, there's no how you can say that it should be absorbed of all this, because even this Rivers State Leaders Council that came to actually dispute the governor over the alleged explosion, actually saying that, look, Nyesom Wike, yes, we won't deny that we are supporters of Nyesom Wike, but the governor seems to be fabricating allegations against our own part. And so we should tell Governor Fubara to stop focusing on Nyesom Wike and focus on governance.
That is where I'm going to. Precisely that. He should know that he's the governor of Rivers. Nobody will take the excuse that somebody was disturbing him. Because as Minister of FCT, Wike himself is a governor by our constitution. So in that case, the governor of Rivers State should know that he's being distracted, and nobody will take excuse from him that it was the distraction from Abuja that he couldn't perform. If that's what he's looking for, he will make no profit from that.
Well, actually, as we try to round off the conversations, I want to bring the statistics to you. 19 states are currently running caretaker, local government caretaker chairman. And out of those 19 states, there are 433 local governments that have this caretaker committee chairman and all of their political authorities. Isn't Governor Fubara just following what is happening in other states where governors are taking charge and then, of course, having a caretaker committee chairman that actually play the music that he wants them to dance to?
No, so if we take it from that point, it will be like me coming in this studio to say the gentleman here has stolen before, so I'm stealing. Do you understand? Exactly. So that's not the point. The thing, what
the 19 out of 36
the
states
situation
and
is
the
an
FCT.
aberration, and I will sit here publicly to recommend to those 19 states, the House of Assembly members of those 19 states, to do exactly what the Rivers State House of Assembly has done. What Rivers State House of Assembly has done is to checkmate this kind of situation. Precisely. A situation where a governor sits in the comfort of his office to appoint a caretaker committee chairman for a local government that he does not know the terrain, he does not know how the people function. You understand?
How true can that be? I mean, before you become a governor, you would have third round.
But that does not take away the fact that the members of the local government have a right to decide who becomes their local government chairman. Right. So, but by this kind of amendment, you take away such absurdity from our body of laws, and I recommend it to all the assembly.
All right, that's a good solution. On the last note, what do you have to say about that?
I want to plead with the president of Nigeria to intervene, call his minister and the governor, because being the presiding officer of this country as a leader today, if anything happens to Rivers State, we are cut off from our economy is going to be 90% affected. So he should not think that it is just like any other state. Rivers is not like any other state. The oil companies, international oil companies are resident there. The oil pipes are running from there.
Yeah, but the last time he was called upon to intervene, how did it end? Are you asking for him to intervene again?
Because, yes, the intervention this one was political. He must go legal.
Okay.
He must invoke all the constitutional powers conferred on him to take decisions about what happens before we degenerate into another heavy crisis that will lead us to something else like it happened in 1963. We must read and interpret our history before it has a funny way of repeating itself in this country.
All right, we just hope that the president is watching, and of course, if he is not, his handlers are actually listening to us, because, there are lots of allegations, plan to declare a state of emergency, which may have upset Governor Fubara and made him to actually talk of that plan of an alleged bombing. But we must thank you so much. Obun is a former federal lawmaker in Cross River State. You've helped us to provide a holistic understanding from the political angle, especially on what's going on in Rivers State. And of course, Archie William Wobodo, a legal analyst and public policy expert, has helped us to actually understand the legal perspective, especially on the issues of caretaker committee, and then of course the composition of the Rivers State House of Assembly. We must thank you so much, gentlemen.